All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS, and Shalom to you brothers pushing this truth. I'm Karat Zalba, back with another show. And this show, I'm going to be focusing on the Brass Serpent, okay? When you read in Numbers 21st chapter, when the Most High commanded Moses to build a brass serpent for Israel to look upon, the ones that was bitten of those poisonous snakes. They look upon the brass serpent and be healed. All right, which the brass serpent was a representation of the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, and how Yahweh Shai was going to be put on a cross, lifted up on a cross for that, whosoever is of Israel was going to, whosoever believe on the Messiah will have eternal life. Okay, but I just wanted to go a little more in depth, get a little more in depth understanding of the brass serpent and how it fully represents Yahweh Shai. Okay, and this topic, I wanted to do a while back, maybe about a couple months ago, almost a year, but the Spirit didn't have me do it. All right, but now the Spirit having me revisit this topic and got me doing this show tonight. And, also another reason why I want to do the show because, it's starting to get warm. And, when it get warm, these Christians like to come out and they like to try to debate the Hebrew Israelites on the topic of, is the Most High and the Son the same, okay? Because Christians, they believe that God and the Messiah are the same person, all right? You have these Christian apologists that like to debate the Israelites or come out there and go in the scriptures and try to say that the Messiah and the Most High, that the Most High is the Son of the Most High in the flesh, okay? Which is not true. We understand when we read the scriptures that the Most High and the Son of the Most High are two separate entities, okay? And here on the screen, in John 12, this is one of the scriptures that these Christian apologists, they try to run to say that the Most High is the Son of the Most High, all right? And that's here in John 12 and 41. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to read up from like verse 36 to get the context. And here in John 12, this all ties in with the topic of the show, which is the brass serpent. So let's get right into it. So this is John 12:36. That says, while you have light, believe in the light, that ye may be the children of light, and the light is Yahweh Shai. These things spake Yahweh Shai and departed, and did hide himself from them. But though he had done many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him, that the saying of Isaiah the prophet might be fulfilled. And this is referencing Isaiah the prophet, which he spake, Lord, who have believed our report, and whom hath the arm of the Lord been revealed. Right, so this is in reference to Isaiah, the 53rd chapter and the first verse, foreshadowing when the Messiah was going to come on the scene. The majority of his people is not going to believe on him. All right, verse 39. Therefore they could not believe, because that Isaiah said again, he had blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, that they should not see with their eyes, nor understand with their ears, with their heart, and be converted, and I shall heal them. Right, so now this is a reference to Isaiah the 6th chapter, okay, where the Most High was going to, blind Israel from receiving the truth. Now it says, verse 41, these things said Isaiah when he saw his glory and spake of him. Right. So we're just saying that pretty much in Isaiah the 6th chapter, in that same chapter, um, Isaiah saw the Messiah. Okay. Isaiah saw the Messiah in Isaiah the 6th chapter. When you read Isaiah's 6th chapter, it speaks about how Isaiah saw the Most High in a vision. All right. So Christians will run to this verse to say that the Most High is the Son of the Most High, because here is speaking about the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. But Isaiah saw the Most High in the vision. Okay. But what Christians don't understand is when you read Isaiah the 6th chapter, the Most High is present, and the Son of the Most High is present also, but not as the same entity. They're present in Isaiah the 6th chapter as two different entities. Okay. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to Isaiah 6th chapter and read it. So this is Isaiah. I'm gonna start from the first verse. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain he covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly. So, this is the Most High and these seraphims, which are angels, okay? Well, we're going to come back to that. I just want to read down. And one cried unto another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. The posts of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. Then said I, Woe is me, for I am done, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Right, so this Isaiah said, my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. So here he sees the Most High in the vision, Yahweh. All right. So Christians will go here to say that, see, Isaiah is speaking about the Most High here, but in John 12 is referencing Isaiah speaking about the Messiah. So let's get understanding of what's going on. So what I want to do is I want to stop at verse 5, and let's go to Numbers 21. And we're going to pick back up at verse 5 in Isaiah. So this is Numbers 21 and 5. I'll start from verse 5. Numbers 21 and 5. And the people spake against God and against Moses. Wherefore have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our souls loatheth this light bread. So, here you have Israel, speaking against Moses. You brought us here in the wilderness to die. All right. So, Israel was unfaithful and, always, provoking the Lord. Verse 6, it says, and the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people died. And much people of Israel died. Right, so the Most High sent these fiery serpents, to bite Israel. Now it says fiery serpents. It doesn't mean actual snakes on fire, but these snakes were poisonous. Okay, and these snakes that bit Israel, that poison has like a burning sensation. Okay, that burning through your veins and put Israel to death. So it says, and the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against thee. Pray unto the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. Verse 8, and the Lord said unto Moses, make a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. And Moses made a serpent of brass and put it on a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. Right, so the Most High commanded Moses to make a fiery serpent and put it on a pole. So Moses made a brass serpent, which is a fiery serpent, and put it on a pole. So the ones that was bitten by the snakes, they would look upon this brass serpent and live, right? And we know that this is a representation of Yahweh Shah. But let's look up this word, fiery serpent, in the Hebrew. So this fiery serpent in the Hebrew, sharap. It's a serpent, fiery serpent, poisonous serpent, fiery from burning effects of poison. That says seraphim. That says seraphim. Keep that in mind. Now let's go to Isaiah. Let's go back to Isaiah 6. I picked up where we left off at verse 5. Then said I, woe is me, for I am done, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. So Isaiah sees Yahweh in a vision. Okay. Now verse 6, it says, then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongues from off the altar. Going to that word seraphim, because one of the angels, the seraphims, flew into Isaiah. Seraphim, same Hebrew word we saw going back to Numbers. Serpent, fiery serpent, poisonous serpent, fiery from burning effects of poison. Seraphim. Right, so when you go into Numbers chapter 21, and the Most High told Moses to build a fiery serpent and put on a pole, and he built the brazen serpent. The brazen serpent, which is a fiery serpent, was a representation of a seraphim. A seraphim is an angel, okay? But that seraphim that Moses built of the brazen serpent wasn't a representation of any angel. It was a representation of Yahweh Shah himself, okay? It was a representation of Yahweh Shah himself. So the brazen serpent was symbolic for a seraphim, an angel, one of the highest forms of angels, okay? But not any angel. That angel or that seraphim was Yahweh Shah. So when you read Isaiah chapter 5, when you read Isaiah chapter 6, and Isaiah sees, the Most High in a vision, when you read verse 6, and it says, then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal. This seraphim is Yahweh Shah, okay? This seraphim is Yahweh Shah himself that comes to Isaiah. So going back to John chapter 12, verse 41. And it reads, "These things said Isaiah," which is Isaiah, "when he saw his glory and spake of him." Right? So Isaiah saw the glory of the Most High, which was Yahweh. Okay? Because the glory of the Most High that he saw was the Messiah. Why? Because the Messiah was the seraphim that came to Isaiah. All right? The seraphim was Yahweh, which was one of the angels of the Lord. This is why the Most High commanded Moses to build that brazen serpent, because the serpent itself, the brazen serpent, was a representation of a seraphim or an angel, an angelic figure, which that angelic figure was Yahweh. So let's go back to Isaiah 6 and read verse 6 again. "Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which had taken with the tongues from off the altar, and he laid it upon my mouth, and said, Lo, this is Salak, and said, Lo, this have touched thy lips, and thy iniquity is taken away, and thy sin is purged." Right? So the seraphim had the power to take away the sin of Isaiah. All right? Let's go to Matthew's. The book of Matthew, chapter 9. Matthew chapter 9, verse 1. "And he entered into a ship and passed over and came into his own city. And behold, they brought him a man sick of the palsy, lying on a bed. And Yahushua, seeing their faith, said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, be of good cheer, thy sin is forgiven. And behold, certain of the scribes said within themselves, This man blasphemed. And Yahushua, knowing their thoughts, said, Wherefore think ye evil in thy hearts? For whether is easy to say, Thy sin be forgiven thee, or to say, Arise and walk, but that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. Then said he to the sick of the palsy, Arise, take up thy bed, and go unto thy house. Right, so here we see that Yahushua had the power to forgive sins. Okay, because the Most High granted Yahushua power to forgive sins. In Isaiah 6, the seraphim was the one who took away the sin of Isaiah. All right. Now, also showing you that seraphim was Yahushua, because Yahushua, outside of the Most High, Yahushua is the one who has the power to take away sin. Okay. In Isaiah 6, the seraphim had that same power given by the Most High. So you see the correlation. All right. And that seraphim is because the angels don't have that power, but Yahushua does. Okay. But let's go back to Isaiah 6. Let's go back to Isaiah 6 and go into that word seraphim. I want to go into the root word. The root word, the root, the definition. It says to burn, to be burnt, burning, to be burnt up, to burn. Right, because seraphim also means like burning one. All right. And so let's go back here. I want to go to Strong's definition. So this is burning, figuratively, poisonous serpent, specifically a seraph or symbolic creature. From their copper color. Keep that in mind, their copper color. It says fire, serpent, seraph. Right, so these seraphim, so these angels, these angels, they come in like a fire, appearance of fire, or the light that emits from around them. Okay, because we're gonna from there real quick. Let's go to Psalms 104, because the seraphim also means like burning one, the appearance of fire. These angelic figures come like a fire. So this is Psalms 104 verse 1. It says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord, my God, thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who covereth thyself with light as with a garment." Who see? So and we know when you read the appearance of the Most High is always associated with like light that emits from him. Okay. Who stretches out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariots, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. Right. So in these associated with the angels, the chariots, the so-called UFOs. All right. Or the vehicles of the Lord. Real quick. So that's why when you go back to Isaiah 6, I read from 1 again. It says, "In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his trains filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain two covered his face, and with twain he covered his feet, and with twain he did fly." And so these are the angels that's in the presence of the Lord, and the chariots around him. Okay. Going back to Isaiah, Salakia, Psalms 104. Salakia, Psalms 104 and 3. "Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariots, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angels spirits, his ministers a flaming fire." Right. Who maketh his angels spirits. So the angels are spirits, but they are likened unto fire. Okay. Because when the angels appear, they have what? So like going to what Isaiah saw, he saw the seraphims, and he saw Yahweh Shai, which was one of the seraphims, but Yahweh Shai came like a fire. Okay, because a seraphim it means burning one. So he saw the light that emitted from the Lord, pretty much, the light that was glowing from the angel. Okay. So I want to go back to Numbers. Going back to Numbers, because that's also what the fiery serpent represent. Okay. The fire of when the Most High told him to make a fiery serpent, because on one hand, the fire itself, of the serpents biting the people. Real quick. Salakia. Trying to find the scripture. Okay, verse 6. "And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. Fire is also the fire, which is the poisonous snakes, is a representation of judgment also. All right. The fire is also a representation of judgment. The scriptures speak about the Lord as a consuming fire, or how the Most High is gonna, how Yahweh Shai is gonna come back in flaming fire. Okay, which is also a representation of judgment. Now it says Salakia, but I wanted to go to kind of lost my train of thought. Okay, let's go back to verse 9. Let's go back to verse 9. And Moses made a serpent of brass and put it upon a pole, and it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. Okay, the serpent of brass. I wanted to go to the serpent of brass because we read about the copper-like appearance in Isaiah 6 in the definition. Let's go back real quick. So when you go into the Strong's definition, and it speaks about how they burnt, the seraphims, the appearance of fire, but like in copper color. Now, what these scholars don't understand is that the brass and the copper color associated with the angels are actually referenced into the likeness of their skin color or appearance, okay, as black men. Because also the brass serpent that Moses made, the brass is the actual representation of the color of the Lord also. All right. Let's go on the Hebrew word. This is Numbers 21 and 9. Let's go to the Hebrew word for brass. Nakashath, copper, bronze. We read in the definition of the seraphim about their copper-like appearance. All right. It says copper, bronze. All right. The Hebrew word nakashath. Let's go to the book of Daniel. Go to the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 5. And this is Daniel seeing Yahweh shine a vision. Then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girt with the fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning. So this is Daniel seeing Yahweh Shai. All right, body like the beryl. A reference to the garment he had on, like a green garment, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as the lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like unto polished brass. Going to that word, brass. Brass. Same Hebrew word for the brass serpent. Nakashath. Copper, bronze, bronze. And this is reference to the actual color of the Lord. Okay? Yahweh Shai being a so-called black man. And that says, let's go to the word polish. burnished, polished, burnished. So it says his arms and feet like in color to burnished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. So when it says arms and his feet like into burnished brass, or polished brass, is going to is the brass is a reference to Yahweh Shah's color, but the polishing or burnish is the light that is emitted from Yahweh Shah. Okay, the light source, or him being like in like a fire. It's like brass on fire because of the light. He's glowing. He's shining. Why? Psalms 121. Who maketh the Lord maketh his angels ministers a flaming fire. Okay, so that's what Daniel is actually seeing. The light that is emitting from Yahweh Shah, him appearing like a fire, but his color, the brass, is in reference to the color of his skin. All right, polished brass. Going back into Numbers 21, Moses building the brass serpent. Okay, like a fiery serpent, which is a representation of an angel, a burning one. All right, a flaming fire. But the brass is also a reference to his color. Okay. Revelations. Same thing in Revelations 1. Revelations 1. 1 and 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Right, so it says that his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burnt in a furnace. Now, we reference this, like his to the color of his skin. All right, and it says his feet like in fine brass as they burnt in the furnace. We say that he's a dark skinned man, but also what is going to is the fire like appearance that John saw. Okay, his feet like unto brass as they burnt in the furnace, which is going into the light or the fire appearance, the light that is emitted from Yahweh Shah. All right. Same thing we read in Daniel's, the 10th chapter. Let's get another precept in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1. This is Ezekiel chapter 1, and Ezekiel saw the Most High in a vision in this same, in like manner. This is Ezekiel chapter 1. I start from verse 26. And above the firmament that was over the heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man above it. And we can even go into that, the sapphire stone. When you look up a sapphire stone, what color is that? All right. It has the color of like a bronze-like color, copper-like color. Now it says, and I saw also the color of amber. Now it says amber here, as the appearance of fire round about with it. So you see how when it describes Yahweh Shah, brass, or like polished brass, or like burnished brass, feet like unto brass as it burnt. Okay, the fire is the actual the light that emits from Yahweh Shah, and speaks about the appearance of the Most High, and it says it's the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about it. You look up that word amber in the Hebrew. Kashamal. It says a shining substance, amber or electrum or bronze. See, bronze, amber, copper. So the scriptures always referring to the scriptures referring to like the Most High, also Yahweh Shah, comparing them to like a bronze like color, copper like color, amber. What color are these? These colors resemble so-called black men. All right. So see, even down here when you go into the Strongs where it says probably bronze or polished spectrum metal. All right. Polished brass. So it says verse 27, and I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about within it, from the appearance of his lawns even upward, and from the appearance of his lawns even downward. So this is like the Most High fully engulfed in light, all right, or fire in appearance. But that amber color showed, which was in reference to the actual color of the Most High. And I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about it. Yeah, so that's what is going to the brightness, okay, which is likened unto a fire, like amber on fire. The Most High, a black man with light, with that light aura around him. So we go back to let's see, Numbers. Right. So just getting a full understanding of the representation of the brass serpent that the Most High told Moses to build, which was a representation of Yahweh Shah, how he was gonna how Israel was gonna look on this serpent to be healed, Yahweh Shah being lifted up on the cross to be the savior of Israel. But the brass serpent also is a representation of an angelic figure, Yahweh Shah himself, which was the seraphim in Isaiah the 6th chapter, and also in reference to him appearing as a fire and his actual color of a bronze like color, his actual appearance as like a black man, which these Christians don't understand that, these scholars don't understand that, okay? But what we do, why? Because we are the Israelites, we are the authoritators, okay? We can actually go into these scriptures and understand them. Why? Because the Spirit of the Lord is working with us, all right? The true believers in Yahweh Shah, in Yahweh, why Yahweh Shah, the true names of the Most High and the Son, okay? So we can go into these these revelations and actually break them down and give out the true understanding, okay? So pretty much with that, I'm just Lord willing, this show was edifying and I hope that I gave clear understanding of the, of the topic at hand, and that it was edifying, that you brothers learned something. So with that, I want to say all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS, and Shalom to the elect. Shalom.